Hi there, welcome to Well Lit Soul, where we seek God, face darkness, and shine brighter. This season of the blog is all about learning, so today's blog is called Joy is Learned. Growing up, I considered joy and happiness to be the same, in part because that seemed to be how everyone around me talked about them, and it wasn't until I was well into my 20s that I began to understand them differently. What I learned is that happiness is a feeling, and like all feelings, they are temporary and easily influenced. They constantly change based on our circumstances, situations, and environments. They also require tremendous work to manage and navigate in a healthy way. But left unaddressed, emotions can be very disruptive and destructive in life. So what is joy then if it's not an emotion? I think of it as a state of mind or being, like being loving, peaceful, patient, kind, or any other fruit of the Spirit from Galatians 5:22 through 24. It's not something you can fake or pretend by putting on a happy face. Joy is seen by the sincere evidence of your faith, trust, and hope in God that comes from knowing and growing with Him. Some people may be naturally inclined towards it, but nevertheless, joy requires a source of fuel to derive the strength and commitment to develop and maintain it. If it helps paint the picture, think of one of those inflatable attractions at car dealerships, those tall, colorful spectacles that flail about in all directions to grab your attention. Apparently, some call them air dancers. I was at an unusually long red light one day and spent a long time staring at one. I noticed a comically large smile plastered on its face, and I thought to myself, that thing is so happy. But upon closer inspection, I realized it's not happy, it's full of joy. The joy is seen in the consistency of the smile and permanently outstretched arms, in spite of the sharp and hazardous falls it repeatedly takes. And just when you think the fall is fatal, a burst of wind lifts it back up into the sky to stand tall. And this air dancer seems completely unfazed by these continuous drops. It knows the strong air will push it back up, so it just focuses on smiling big to draw attention to the place of business. Even though this is just a form of advertisement, I hope you can see the parallel. The joy is not the surface level appearance of smiles and lifted hands. It's the internal trust and confidence in the power it cannot see to keep standing strong no matter how many tough falls it takes. The understanding that without that steady wind, it would be a lifeless heap on the ground. But as long as it stays connected to that powerful force, it will always be lifted up. The joy is the bright, dazzling, and resplendent expression of the enduring relationship and blessed assurance it has. There are countless scriptures that show what joy is and where it comes from, such as Psalms 5:11, Psalms 51:11 through 12, Psalms 89:15, Romans 15:13, Colossians 1:10 through 11, and James 1:2 through 4. But I want to specifically call your attention to Hebrews 12 as the ultimate example of what joy looks like. Verses 1 through 2 say, "Therefore we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God." The Hebrew writer is pushing the saints to put their struggles and weights to the side and continue their walk faithfully with God. He asks them to look to the example of Jesus, who courageously faced his impending cruel and undeserving death because he recognized the purpose of his suffering and knew the outcome would enable salvation for all of humanity. So if I had to summarize it, joy is the positive expression of one's faith, trust, and hope in God that comes from knowing He is always there to support you in the tests, trials, and tribulations of life. And it's worth repeating that becoming and being joyful is hard work. It's not the automatic response to hardship. That's why it's something we have to learn. It takes time to train your heart to be positive, hopeful, and thankful when you're not having fun or feeling happy during the tests. But we have to remember, when storms come our way, it's an opportunity to grow in joy, and we do that by leaning on God, by reading His Word, and by asking Him for wisdom and guidance during this season. One could say it's learning to shine brighter from seeking God and facing darkness. Connection question: what lessons have you learned about joy from different storms in your life? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to connect with you about it.